it was my own stupid fault. I wasn't paying attention. I was too naive. I was caught up in my happiness. I was too happy, which sounds silly, but I took my children to the beach, and it was a beautiful day. I remember making sand castles and looking in the rock pools, pointing out crabs. There was so much I wanted to show them, so much I wanted to teach them. And then ships. Tevinter ships. Sailing. And I remember standing on that beach thinking, I wonder what they're doing here. Those aren't Kunari ships. Why are they sailing so close if... I hesitated. I stood around and I looked, and I shouldn't have. And then the next thing I knew, everything was chaos. There was fire, there was sand everywhere screaming. And I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was frozen. I couldn't breathe. Luckily, the guards, they came running. They were shouting, and I tried to get them up the shore. And he must have fallen. He must have fallen, and I didn't notice. And I was his Tamazran. I was effectively his mother. What kind of mother doesn't notice that her child has fallen?
I put my hand on her hand on the table. Hey, it's not just your fault. If you say it's your fault, don't think it's just yours. It was the Winter's fault also. We're taking the children.
It sounds... Because when I got back to town, I was rewarded. Out of all of the children, only one was taken. And they said I did a good job, and I didn't. I didn't do a good job. I failed in the most complete and utter way possible. And that is why I have to go to Orlais. It is my responsibility. Anything he has suffered is my doing. Through not my actions, but my negligence.
Pasha, a mother does her best to do whatever they can for their child, no matter what. I know this myself. When I was back home, my mother used to care for me every time I got my punishments. She took care of me. She stitched me up. She bandaged me up. I mean, hell, my entire body could be just a walking torture portrait for all I care. But she cared for me. She did her best. But she didn't live to the end. She passed away when I was 10 years old. And that moment I knew I had to take care of myself then. I was the only one, my father abandoned us, and I had to do everything by myself. Alone. But it doesn't mean that my mother failed to keep herself alive. Because in my eyes, she succeeded at something. She taught me how to become, what I am now. A doctor, a healer, a person who helps others. I was lucky I got out from where I was.
I am sorry for your loss, Tyrion.
Don't worry, it's been a long time. 10 years. I accepted that fate. So it's still... I still think, what would have happened if I didn't have her? Would I have just found a way to end it all? But still, you did your best. And while one child got away, which is understandable, the child will have to find a way to settle himself. And if you can find him now, when we get to Orlais, it's up to you what you want to tell him. The question is up to you. What do you want to do? How long has this been since this event?
I was 19 years old when that happened. It has been I was 19 at the time. It was 23 years ago. He would be 31.
Yeah, 31, 32, somewhere along those lines.
Quite an old. He has grown quite a bit. The question is, how will you find him now?
By any means I have to. A mother never forgets her children. Never.
Narika pipes up and says, Pasha, I can't say that I fully understand everything that you've been going through. I too always wanted to have children of my own, and that just, we'll just say it wasn't in the cards for me. And I can just imagine what it must be like to even lose one.
A mother should never lose her children.
I think Pasha will put a hand on Narika's shoulder and give her a little squeeze as a kind of there are no words I can say, but and
Tyrion's kind of a little bit quiet as you kind of bond together, and he just kind of sits there, contemplating. Well, hopefully when we get to Orlais, you can find them, and when you do, you can ask him whatever you want, But do know you're in freedom lands, you can say now. But I hope you don't do anything odd.
Odd? Tyrion, my dear, when have I ever done anything odd?
Remember the time when you almost tried to break down a duke's door?
That wasn't odd. That was forthright. I didn't attempt to break it down because if I had attempted, I would have succeeded. I simply requested, and we got turned away. I disagree with your assessment entirely, sir.
I mean, still, you were trying to do the forceful way, but it's... What I'm saying is, your child is different now. Don't do anything that seems forceful, it's all. I don't know, possibly bringing him back to the Qun. I mean, 23 years changes you, so...
If he desired to go back to the Qun, then obviously I would assist him in this.
But what if he says no?
Pasha gets a very sour look on her face. A very sour look. And... this freedom you speak of, Tyrion. How free are you?
Me? At the moment? To the point where I can really kinda do whatever I'm interested in doing. I am a doctor. I help people. If I see someone injured, I try to help them out. We all make decisions to do whatever we want. Here we are in this with this people of circus trying to figure out, about all this. We are choosing to do this, so we are very free to do what we want.
My question is, you say that you are free. Are you choosing completely at random, or are you merely choosing from options that have been granted to you? If you were to go to the kitchen now, and pick something out to eat, have you chosen completely off of the top of your mind what, anything that you desire, or have you selected something from what has been offered?
Well, it's a little bit of both, you can say. You see what you have to be offered, but you choose what you want to take, what you're interested in taking.
I don't. I can
Pasha,
see this conversation going around in circles. I don't think
Pasha,
you and I will ever see eye to eye on
well,
that.
let me tell you a phrase that once my former master once told me. An interesting one. He told me, he gave me a roof over my head, food to eat, nutritious enough for me, clothes to wear, a bed to sleep on, and yeah, he did all that. My price for him was to serve him. To serve him, even though I had really no option to say no because I was forced into it. So, if he says all those things again to me, I would probably tell him no. I prefer out here. I prefer traveling around and doing what I want to do, not what a pompous rich ass man who think with long fingers, who thinks that the best, that every mistake I do, but it needs to be answered with a whip. That's why I ran. Because I had no option to get out, other than initiative.
It is.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was merely going to say it is most unfortunate that there was not a solution for you to leave legally.
No. Because my master loved me so much, he says. And he probably... I think he just sees me more useful to his entourage.
You were born into slavery?
He nods. I started working when I was only 5. 5. All because my father left.
Pasha... I think Taryn can definitely tell Pasha is studying him. She's got it's not like a I disagree with your life angry face. It's more of like a curious
inspection.
Kind of thing going on.
When you see Tyrion, Tyrion is he's full on not mad, he's just he's in focus when he's saying all this. I'm not saying I disagree with what you're saying. It's a difference of what we've seen when we were born. So I don't know how the Qun works myself. I'm just an outsider as far as I know to the Qun. But in my opinion, there are certain things that are right, but certain things are also wrong. And well, personally, if you don't have the freedom to choose what you want to do because someone commands you, then in my opinion that's just not right, sort of.
I can't see where you're coming from, Tyrion. My argument is that I believe that the Qun does what it does for the betterment of its people. No one is... If you desire to leave the Qun, you can leave the Qun. We may not make it easy, but you can leave. Just as we allow anyone to join, we do not... There is no... well, have you gone through X, Y, and Z? Well, you have. Well, then you can't join. We will only accept people who have these qualities. Anyone can come. Anyone can leave. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Qun hasn't done horrible things. I've heard what the Ben Hasrath do to prisoners. But I do truly believe that what we do for the betterment of people.
He nods. Can't say I'm understand all that concept, but if it's for the betterment of people, well, that's I guess you see it. I got no say in it, really, and nothing to argue against it because it's your people, not mine. People I know more a lot. It's a different story for us. But this has soured the mood a little bit.
Pasha holds out her cup and says, a toast to differences of opinion.
Toast to that, it is.
I think that sounds very good. And they'll clink the glasses. Okay. Very awesome scene. Super interesting,
That
too.
was dope.
Thank you. I love that scene a lot. Cool. How about the other three? Maybe Tommy, because he wasn't here last week. Does Tommy have any interest in interacting with anyone?
I do, actually.
Who would you like to talk to?
I'd like to find Leon.
Okay. Leon, where are you? Are you in your wagon? Are you somewhere else?
I mean, I guess I'm probably just sort of walking around the perimeter.
Okay.
You know, sort of trying to calm my mind before bed, because what Leon wanted to do, you know, right before bed was have a discussion with Tyrion. So he's, you know, psyching himself up for that, and sort of walking around,
Okay.
trying to think of things.
All right. Well, before you then manage to get to Tyrion, I'm assuming Rousseau will find you.
Yeah, I'd say this freshly after unpacking and like the night of in parallel while they're doing all of that. Just kind of sitting and seeing Leon do one pass, do another. At the third, it's like, okay, something's up. So I'm gonna hop off and just slowly skulk up to him. You okay, Leon?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. What's up?
You seemed a little off.
Uh, well, Tyrion and I sort of had a big difference of opinion, and I'm trying to think about how to make it up to him, but I mean, since it is a difference of opinion, it's hard because I'm probably not going to change, and he's probably not going to change, and well, you know, and he did just have a whole big day yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. I'm a little out of the loop, unfortunately. I mean, what do you two specifically disagree about?
Oh, well, more or less, well, magic is a very volatile and sensitive sort of subject. And, you know, I have my ways of going about how I deal with magic, and Tyrion doesn't always agree with, you know, magic. You know, he's a doctor and I'm a magic user, and, you know, things just sort of happen. I mean, nothing, he doesn't disagree with, you know, magical healing. It's just, you know, uh, you know, just friends sort of stuff.
You're
But
being rather vague.
yeah, I mean, I'm still coming to terms with it myself. So, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it when I sort of have a better handle about it.
Come with me.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna walk to, like, we said we're near, like, a water source, right? Out of character.
Yeah, you're correct. And as you tell Leon to come with him, do you have objection in your possession?
Sure, why not?
Let me talk to you, Leon.
Oh no.
Daretham is like screaming out, "Don't do it! Don't do it, Leon!"
This
The
is
last
Tyrion
time-
got it.
The last time somebody took someone to a lake or a body of water, it didn't turn out so well for them.
My brain jumped to "Come with me, Vanan," and Solus leads the Inquisitor to remove their Valasline and break their
Right.
heart.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm gonna slowly just sit down next to like the shoreline and then just start ruffling through my stuff and pull out a flask and take a sip. Want some?
I mean,
You're old enough, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't really know the laws around here, but I've never really tried.
Whatever. It's not my job anymore.
And Leon's a little, as you know, mage training. They want you to keep your mind sharp.
I'm just gonna hand it over to him.
Do I just sort of takes a small sip? Why do people drink this? Gush it off.
It tastes better the more you get used to it.
I'll take your word. He hands back the flask.
I get that you and Tyrion having a moment is a big deal for you, because from what I've heard, you two knew each other. If you're worried about something being bad that might not heal fully, there's certain things that you'll never just be eye to eye with everyone on.
But we're friends. We've known each other for a while. I mean, we sleep in the same room. I mean, I've never had any like friends in the circle, and it just doesn't. It just feels so awful.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And I don't want him to hate me, and I just, this is something I have to do, and I just, yeah, sort of kicks the grass a little bit.
You know, when I was your age, I was in a very similar boat, Leon, with my brother. Where I'm at now is a very short-term thing in accordance to everything else in my life, but I'm sure so long as you actually make the ample effort and you two can understand each other, you'll be able to move on. I mean, I wish I could have that second chance with my brother, but that's promptly up the creek.
Oh. If you don't mind me prying, I mean, I've not heard anything about your brother.
Back when I was really young, I don't know if you were born yet, but surely you read up on the Blight.
Yeah, it was quite awful, I've heard. The Circle always tries to get us ready. And stories of Grey Wardens, but someone actually living through the Blight must have been awful.
Thankfully, I was really young when the Blight happened. I was only 10 at the time. In Kirkwall, where things came to an end, my life from what it was shattered from that point. For a while, I knew Pasha for about 2 years whenever she wasn't trying to be like, the Cune's great, read this. It was just me and him. My mother left that night. But we got word. Your old pops was home in Navarra. And I've lived there ever since. I've never seen him. Quite frankly, I don't ever want to see him again. And well, if I'm gonna be able to tell my boy someday, I need to tell you. I did awful things to get by. And it took a while for my eyes to open. And when they finally did, it really hurt. And my brother was on the opposite end of me. And takes a heavy gulp out the flask. We did one job a few months before I met Balin, and he was all I had. I didn't want to lose him, and things went bad, and this guy looked like he was about to get him. And I stopped him. He swung his sword at me. I caught it. And then I'm gonna unroll my hand with the slash right across it. And I could have stopped right there. But I didn't. I picked up the nearest brick off the side of the road. And just kept going and going and going. And when I looked up, he wasn't remorseful. He just looked like you've earned this. And the fact that he thought that was right was what started us falling out. I don't think what you're gonna have to deal with is that massive. But there's room to recover, Leon.
I'm sorry that you have had to experience that, but I'm glad you told me. It sort of puts things a little bit more into perspective.
Yeah. Just keep your head up.
It seems like you've changed for the better. I mean, you speak for the law. You have a son who is turning out real great so far.
I can't walk away from what I've done, though. No matter how many good deeds I do, it's gonna stay with me.
It's not all about walking away. It's accepting what you've done and learning from it and improving yourself. Catalyst for change.
Yeah. And I think it's important you keep that message for yourself. Leon, not everyone's got 100% good stuff going on. You have to accept all of your parts, good and bad, and strive with it the best you can going forward. And I think that's going to help you the most in talking to Tyrion.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta lead with my strengths and accept my shortcomings. And even if things aren't great all the time, you've gotta accept what you've got and learn to make the most of it. Yeah. Sort of visibly calms down a lot.
So what happened with this Darren chick or whatever?
Man, it seems to have really messed Tyrion up. She's a slave hunter. And, well, Tyrion's a runaway slave, and I think it dredged up some really awful memories of his previous life. And there was a period of time when he just, well, shut down. It was awful to watch, to see someone someone you trust, someone who's your friend, just die a little on the inside. And I don't want him to go through that again. It's just, there's nothing we can do. I think Daratham's the only one who really knows what's going on. It seems like they've had similar experiences. Have you seen the way they formally bow? And yeah, their manners are almost identical.
Well, you don't have to get someone entirely to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and sorry about the office. Hilda was throwing a lot of things when we were clearing it out.
She was quite the character there. Wow. How did you manage all those years with such a battle axe?
I always had the feeling she meant well, just had a very bad way of saying it, though this was the new level.
Oh man, you know what they say? Some people, when they like someone a lot, they treat them poorly. Just a way to make them notice them. But I don't know if anything's going on there. Sort of nudges.
I mean, when you put it like that, makes a little bit of sense, but nothing like that's ever happened between us over my 4 years of doing this job.
Yeah, and you're fleeing the town.
As well, when you make an army of nobles and mercenaries, and your boy turns out to be a Pentavive Guardian, it's not really safe to sit in one spot.
Oh yeah, gosh, you're gonna have to start setting some ground rules about fire. Ooh boy.
Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that you want the best for your son, but at some point you've got to think about, what you want to teach him in terms of his capabilities and skill set. I mean, you've done a good job of instilling a sense of moral, well, what you should do morally, but eventually he's got to learn to control, well, himself and his abilities.
Yeah, you're right. I personally don't have any idea of how to do that. I mean, even parenthood in of itself, it's been hard.
Cool.
My father was never around, so I've been trying to do the best that I think I could, but it's hard to go from reference when you had none yourself.
Yeah, I bet. It seems like he's a happy, healthy kid.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Same world in a circus, not the worst childhood.
Definitely gonna be colorful, if nothing else.
Oh yeah. He said he wanted a little an animal of some sort. Now he has a whole wagon of animals to take care of.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for him to learn that responsibility.
Yeah.
Well,
Man.
I had no idea what to really think of you, Leon, because you always seemed reprehensive, but opening up can help someone a lot. And I doubt you have any reason to be scared around any of us.
Yeah, you're all a good crew, and I'm glad to have an adventuring party as great as you lot. I don't know. I guess I'm still trying to figure myself out. It's the biggest issue. I don't know what I want or where I'm really going. I just know going back to the circle is going to be hard.
You'll manage.
Yeah.
Leon, you're going to spend your whole life debating if what you're doing is what you really want to do or if you're in the right. It's just, you're not going to know until you actually live it.
Yeah. It's just, the unknown is hard.
Yeah. Alright. Well, I think you're in good enough shape to go talk to Tyrion. I need to go get a refill and then kind of just cap the flask.
Thank you. It's really helped a lot. And I hope I can talk to you in the future if I need more helpful advice.
I'd like that.
Awesome.
That was heavy.
Another great
That
scene.
was heavy. And I listened to you.
Yeah.
I heard all of it. I know I was away, but I heard all of the conversation. It was fucking just...
Yeah. Really cool to see Leon and Russo interacting. That's really cool. All right, so Dominic, would you like Darethim to interact with
Yeah, I
someone?
guess this is a good enough time as any. So maybe kind of mirroring the same as when Tyrion went off to talk with her. She's maybe like by the ocean on a separate part where Leon and Rousseau and are talking, and Darethim would kind of step up, not making a like threat or make himself stealthy or anything. He'd just kind of step up and stand next to her, looking out.
Okay, so Darren, actually, I did intend for Darren to be by the water.
Yeah.
Because she currently is washing her garments, washing her enchanted garments in the water. And it's kind of cool because the garments themselves are wringing themselves out.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're wringing themselves out, and I think she's like hanging them on some sort of like makeshift clothesline.
Yeah.
But even though there isn't any wind in the air, the clothes are like going like this to try to quicken the drying process.
Yeah. He would kind of look up and probably not startle her because she's very perceptive. But would say, "If I may ask, where exactly did you get such a fine enchanted item?"
She'll turn to you and say, "Oh, hello. Normally people greet each other before they start asking questions."
My apologies. Darethim. And he gives a bow. Even if he tries to hide it, she can recognize the bow of a slave.
Okay. She will then bow as well and say, "Nice to meet you, Darethim. Darren. You can call me Darren. To answer your question, it was actually a gift. A gift from my master, Alexius."
Truly.
Yes. As a slave hunter, I didn't always have such things to aid me, but I ended up being very good at my job, and I think my master wanted to set me up for success, so he had these made and enchanted just for me, and I have to say it made my it made my occupation and therefore indentured servitude all the more easier. So I have him to thank for that. His son, Felix, was the one who actually woven the cloths.
And he'd kind of look there. There'd not be a long pause, but like a small pause, and he would then say, "You really do. Care's the wrong word, but you don't mind your master."
Well, he's always treated me well enough, I would like to believe. So there's no reason for me to hate him if that's what you're asking. Not all masters in Tevinter are as terrible as the stories say,
Yes,
but
I'm aware of that.
yes, I gathered that, she says.
It's hard to hide when you've been instilled in it since birth.
I suppose you could say that, sure. Are you speaking from experience, then?
Oh yes. You might not have caught it during the mayhem of the final repose, but 24 years of servitude from birth till effective death for myself.
And so your master was not as agreeable?
He kept to older traditions.
Well, I'm sorry that your lot may not have been as pleasant as mine then.
Yes. And he kind of stops. I do feel, especially with this context, I should apologize as well.
About?
I had made a few assumptions. I'm, of course, aware not all Tevinters are evil, not everyone is a simple morality. It's all gray. I had assumed you were more of Tyrann's ilk and less of mine.
I appreciate your apology. You see, I admit that is one thing about myself that I've recognized is that I'm not fond of people judging me or making sudden decisions about me when they haven't even had a chance to get to know me. I think that was why there was a little bit of friction with Tyrann and I, because I can see in his eyes that Tyrann has...
He's very righteous.
He's very righteous, yes. I know his type. And so I didn't appreciate him insinuating that I didn't know what I was talking about, or that I was naive. When in actuality, it's adorable, but I think he's the naive one.
I would agree. Though in many ways I envy him. And he kind of holds out a hand. You can see the bandages wrapped up, the fingers that seem a little too malformed to, like, for her, knowing anatomy probably as much as Tyrann would know as well. It's not quite right. Not just what happened to me due to my master, but what I had to do while serving. Do you take not pride, but some satisfaction that you are doing right by yourself?
I do. I do take satisfaction in doing right by myself. Everything that I have been able to get out of life up to this point, besides the ones provided by my master, of course, I still earned for myself. Including my freedom eventually, of course. I probably threw that away just now. I don't know why I decided to do that.
Emotions are not always very logical. In fact, they never are. But back to the point, in many ways, I would say I was worse than my master.
How so?
I had to do many, many terrible things. And I didn't question them. I knew they were wrong. and I never really slept right, but I also was not always guilty, and that made me feel more guilty than anything.
What sort of things did you have to do that you didn't believe was right?
I'm also an elf. And on many occasions I've ripped children away from their families. Whipped many, even as young as 7.
I see.
Brought sacrifices for my master's blood magic. By the thousands. And that was before, well, what happened after. When I was younger, I thought of running away. I had my mother and father to provide for. But in my worldview, Tevinter was the world. There was nothing else, no one else. And then I had Ceres.
Ceres?
My little sister.
I see.
I will say in many ways you are lucky you only had yourself. It lets you feel good about running away like Tyrion did, or doing the work for yourself.
I suppose that's true. I suppose me not having to look out for someone else besides myself probably was at my advantage.
Yes, Ceres I was much older when she was born, 19. But she was the sweetest little thing. And my master, her life was my payment.
I see. And he honored that agreement?
Yes.
Well, at least you had that, then.
I suppose. But in the end, that didn't matter. I still failed her.
How so?
Her blood is on my hands.
I don't quite follow. Did your master do something to your sister?
I mean, I suppose technically that could be it, but no, it wasn't his doing. It was mine. It was my fault.
That sounds like a very uncomfortable story.
It is one. I suppose I wanted to apologize and also to tell you that you were in the right. And so was Tyrion. Because your circumstances made it so that both of your paths were the best one, and if I had my choice, I probably would have chosen your path.
I thank you for that.
I effectively did, except it wasn't my life, it was my sister's, and my parents, and my wife, for the brief time I had her. And he kind of chuckles. There was only really one single time in my 24 years that I rebelled. It was my wife, Arania. She was to be one of his sacrifices, but since my master had said my family wouldn't be harmed, I had a whole ridiculous debacle planned, but she just simply said, "Why don't we marry?" And he allowed it.
Clever.
She was always the clever one.
She sounds like she was the clever one. I'm assuming that your wife's story is also an uncomfortable story as well.
The blood of my family is all in my hands, yes.
Sorry to hear that. Dartham, when you walk through my life in my shoes, I've had to do a lot of things to get to where I am now, to be in the position that I am now, and that included returning a lot of other people just like Tyrion back to their masters. Did I think about what would happen to them once I returned them? At the beginning, yes. I had to return young ones, old ones, ones that resisted, many who didn't. I didn't really make it very easy for them to. And yes, at the beginning I did think about what I was doing, and I decided for myself a long time ago that I couldn't do that. For my own sanity, I couldn't think about those things. I couldn't think about the morality of what I was doing. I had to see it as, this is my job. These people, by law, needed to return back to their masters, and that's what I did. And I think, honestly, that is why I've managed to be in such good standing with Alexius for the last 10 years, and why I was so close to retirement, as they say.
I will say, Tyrion I knew first, and I envy both of you. You're both a lot stronger than I am.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say, Terathan. And it's not like I went into this agreement completely blind and naive, because I have seen others who have gone through the indentured servitude under Alexius himself, and he was true to his word and helped them reach their citizenship. There was one man that I became very good friends with when I started my indentured servitude, and he was released as into the citizenship of Tevinter shortly after, and so I know firsthand that it does happen.
Yes. I just personally had never heard of the practice.
But I do wonder how Dandelion's doing.
Well, perhaps you'll meet him someday. Maybe he made his way south.
Perhaps, she says.
I also wanted you to know that if the decision comes that you and Tyrion should come to clash again, I won't help you, but I won't stop you.
Daretham, for your sake, I think that's the best.
Oh, I'm relatively decent in a fight. They call me the Butcher in some circles, you know.
Really? The Butcher, eh?
Yes.
That sounds actually rather sexy, she says with a smirk.
Well, that's a new one.
Back into Venter, you're going to laugh, but there was a butcher that Alexius quite often would have some of the best meats prepare for his meals, and I did have a slight crush on him.
Afraid I'm less of a chef. My taste buds are pretty much non-existent.
Ah, I see.
More of the murder, death, kill sort of butcher.
I don't judge. I don't judge.
Yes. But thank you for listening, and well, whether you decide to clash once again and follow your original path, or travel this new one, if I can aid you, I will. And I wish you luck either way.
I appreciate that, Dartham. Thank you. You've been most kind.
It's not penance, but it makes me feel like I'll perhaps be slightly better judged by the gods. Maybe Dumont will look kindly on me. I don't know.
Dumont? Ah. I see.
Yes, and he says a greeting in Ancient Divine, which he probably doesn't understand. The family I served was very, very traditional.
She's gonna nod and say, I would always say that Tyrion's a very, very mysterious man, but you, Mr. Dartham, are just as mysterious as well.
Oh, not more. I'm offended. I thought the cloak was making it better.
She says, well, I find mysterious people very alluring.
Well, this mysterious definitely covers not a pleasant sight. So, and also I think Tyrion's less mysterious, more just unusually confounding.
She'll nod. Well, I think my clothes have managed to dry themselves, so I think I'm going to head back to the caravan again.
Oh, that is quite handy. Huh? I'm slightly jealous.
She says, jealous? Why jealous?
Well, it'd be nice to not need to wring out all of this fabric every time I get wet.
Oh, she says, well, if you ever want me to help do your laundry, I will be more happy to oblige.
Well, I'll be sure to remember that, Darren.
She'll smile and, she'll actually take one of the handkerchiefs that she has, like a small handkerchief, and says, and she'll hold it towards you. A small token, she says, of our pleasant conversation.
And he'll chuckle and take it.
So it is an enchanted handkerchief.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's going now. When you first hand it, it's probably not going to follow your every command right away.
Yeah.
But maybe over time, if you treat it well and train with it, you might be able to. I don't know. You might be able to do tricks with it or other things in combat, maybe.
Maybe to unlock something or tie some.
Maybe,
no?
Yeah. So you've got an enchanted handkerchief. What color would you like it to be? You can pick what color it is.
I don't know, red, I guess.
Bright red, like a nice scarlet bright red. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, let's say it's bright red.
I think that'd be really cool. All right.
And he'll take it and kind of run it over, feeling like the magic inherent in the cloth as it kind of almost floats a little above his hand.
It's made of very soft, made of very soft silk, but something about it also feels strong as well. Mm-hmm. That it could, if you are able to train it, could easily, for example, bind somebody's hands together.
And he'll kind of look over, and he'll take one finger and slowly push up on the middle, and it kind of floats up before going back down. Well, this is certainly a treasure I will keep very good care of.
She says, well, I'll take that as a thank you, Mr. Butcher.
Oh, fine. This is probably not a good idea, but I can't not give something in return. Well,
sorry. Tyrion walks around the corner, and then he sees Dartham coming in, giving her a kiss. That'd be awesome. Maybe it's time for you to patch things up with Leon, Tyrion. Maybe it's time to revisit that.
So he has a black iron staff. I'm gonna say there's
Okay.
probably like it's very plain, but there's maybe like a crystal or something on it.
Okay.
And he'll with a little force. She probably would notice a little more force than probably is normal for someone of his like musculature. We'll pop it out. Let's say it's also red, like a very very small like garnet or ruby.
Sure.
That's in the staff, and he'll hand it over, and she can make the check. And I'm not going to make it hard for her. If she happens to look up, she will be able to see his eyes. And I'm not going to make it at all hard for her. She put like TN9. He's not. He's like giving her the ruby as a token, but yeah. So then she's able to see, and she can probably tell that he was like, "That's also the gift," like as showing that I trust you enough to let you.
Interesting. Okay.
And she can probably tell because it was that easy, like. Oh, so it was the garnet, but also the ability to look if you wanted to.
You'll hand her the garnet. She'll look at it, and it's a shiny trinket, so you can tell.
But it's not much. But
I thank you. Are you sure your staff doesn't need this?
I just kind of slightly shivered, and there's a burst of like some blackish light cloud. No, it still works quite fine.
Very mysterious, Mr. Butcher. Thank you, she says. I will definitely treasure this as well. And she'll give you a smile, and she puts it in her pocket.
And she'll see the crinkle of the bandages around his mouth in what is his version of a smile.
She will again nod and just just repeat, very mysterious.
For good reason, though.
We'll talk again, Mr. Butcher. And she will start to saunter her way to the wagons while her cloths fly off of the clothesline and start to encircle around her, and she's like completely fully.
And he'll kind of like just look a little bit as she's going, and then he in his head hears a voice, a male voice going, and as he recalls a small moment, I think she's walking like that on purpose there. Shut up, Mom.
I love it.
I'm just saying.
Also, when I mentioned that the clothes were encircling around her until she was fully clothed, I suddenly had like a Sailor Moon moment. Like, you know how Sailor Moon like transforms, like the ribbons wrap around her and she's clothed.
Same for Dragon Season 3? I don't know.
All right, and that is then Dartham will return a little bit after, and we'll definitely. I'm gonna be examining this cloth. Like how does this work? I'm curious now.
Yes. So that was a very cool hashtag Darrentham scene. So I don't know where that's gonna go. What's gonna happen with that and Tyrion, and who knows? But we'll see.
And we now know Dartham has more game than Tyrion.
Yes. Yeah, he managed to get a gift.
Date than Tyrion.
He managed to get a gift from Darren. Now, granted, Darren technically gave Tyrion like all of her clothing, but not.
I mean,
but he didn't want it.
But he didn't want it.
Yeah.
He tossed it aside into the lake, if I remember correctly.
One was. I mean, there's two differences. The one was forced. The other was alive. I don't know.
Tyrion got the full course, but it was not consented. I got the appetizer, and it was very consented.
Yeah, exactly.
And according to British courtship, a handkerchief is a token of affection. So
And according to the courtships of frickin' Darkspawn with tragic backstories, being allowed to see a mysterious past in the eyes is also a thing like that. So.
I'm sure this will be mentioned probably in the vlog, but we also learned a lot about some of Darren's friendships or associates back in the day.
I'm a real quick
So-
write down a thing here. Okay, Art is insane and a madman, also probably a genius.
And so you said Leon wanted to talk to Tyrion?
Yeah.
All right, set up the scene.
Alright.
Do you see this happening the same day or the next day of you talking to Rousseau?
Probably that night because he got this mini pep talk from Russo, and he's like, "All right, let's do this." And now he's waiting in the
Time to tell
shared
my crush, tell him I like him, okay?
waiting in.
Just gonna make sure that Tyrion has someone in his back pocket, just in case.
Oh yeah,
in reserve.
Waiting in the wagon for.
You don't have to tell Leon he's the leftovers. You could.
Yeah.